The secret to learning skills faster than you ever thought possible. Have you ever spent hours watching videos, reading books, or following step-by-step guides, only to find that you're still stuck at square one? You think you're learning, but when it's time to apply your new skills, you freeze. Why does this happen? What if I told you that the key to learning faster and better isn't about consuming more content or doing more work? What if I told you there's a shortcut, a proven method based on science that allows you to learn faster than you ever imagined? The key isn't in learning more information, it's about learning smarter. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is backed by science, proven by top athletes, CEOs, musicians, and even students who mastered their craft faster than anyone thought possible. In this video, I'll show you the secrets to unlocking your brain's full learning potential. You're about to discover techniques that will drastically speed up how quickly you master any skill, from the language you've always wanted to speak to the instrument you've always wanted to play. But here's the thing, these techniques aren't what you'd expect. They go against everything you've been taught about learning. And I promise, if you stick around until the end, you'll be equipped with the exact strategies that top performers and experts use to learn faster than anyone else. The truth is, you don't have to be a genius to learn faster. What you need are the right strategies, and that's exactly what I'm about to share with you. So, do you want to level up? Are you ready to stop struggling and start mastering new skills? Let's dive in. The traditional methods aren't enough. Let's be real for a moment. Most people think that to get better at something, they need to watch more tutorials, read more books, and take more notes. But you've probably already realized that more learning doesn't necessarily mean better learning. I'm guessing you've been there. You sit down, you watch the tutorial, you think you're absorbing everything, and when it's time to put it into practice, you freeze. You forget what you just watched, and that's because you've been using passive learning. Passive learning is the most common mistake people make. It's where you absorb information without engaging with it. You think you're making progress, but you're not. It's like sitting in a car reading the map, but never actually driving the vehicle. You're just stuck. This is where things start to change. When it comes to learning something new, active engagement is the key. You see, the brain doesn't like to be passive. It craves challenge and stimulation. And if you want to learn faster, you have to make it work. So how do you break this cycle? Here's the truth. You learn faster when you actively engage with material. The key is to make learning harder on purpose. This might sound counterintuitive, but desirable difficulty and the struggle is what actually causes your brain to grow. It's uncomfortable, it's challenging, but that's where the real growth happens. And let me tell you, it's 10 times faster than just passively re-watching the same tutorial for the 10th time. So what's the secret to making this happen? Active recall. Instead of just reading or watching, test yourself. Can you recall the steps? Can you play the chord from memory? Challenge yourself, push your brain to work harder, and you'll see results. So next time you're learning something new, whether it's a language, a musical instrument, or a coding language, don't just passively absorb. Engage with the material, test yourself, struggle through challenges, and embrace the discomfort that comes with learning. This is where growth happens. You'll start to notice that your memory becomes sharper, your confidence grows, and learning feels like a natural progression instead of a constant uphill battle. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Let's move on to how feedback fits into all this. Feedback is your secret weapon. Have you ever practiced something over and over again and still felt like you weren't getting any better? I know how frustrating that can be. You're putting in the time, but your skill level doesn't seem to improve. Here's the problem. You're not getting feedback. Without feedback, you're basically driving with your eyes closed. You have no idea if you're heading in the right direction, but feedback is like having your very own GPS for learning. You need it to stay on course, to know when to accelerate and when to adjust. Let's break it down. Feedback comes in two powerful forms, positive and negative. Positive feedback boosts your motivation and helps you lock in the actions that are working. Negative feedback helps you adjust, making sure you avoid mistakes and speed up your learning process. Most people avoid feedback because it feels uncomfortable. You don't want to hear that you're doing something wrong. But here's the truth. Feedback is the fastest way to improve. You might not want to hear that you're making mistakes, but not knowing about them keeps you stuck. Think about it. If you keep practicing bad habits without correcting them, you're just reinforcing those bad habits. It's like trying to run with weights strapped to your feet. You'll never get anywhere unless you adjust. Here's where it gets good. Feedback doesn't always have to come from someone else. You can be your own feedback loop. All you have to do is self-correct. Record yourself, watch or listen back, and notice where you could improve. It's uncomfortable, sure, but it works. Getting external feedback, though, is also invaluable. Whether it's from a coach, a teacher, or a mentor, their feedback helps you cut down the time it takes to improve by pointing you in the right direction immediately. Another crucial aspect of feedback is deliberate practice. Focus on one part of your skill, master it, then move on to the next. This constant fine-tuning through mini feedback loops will help you progress exponentially. Now that you understand how feedback accelerates your learning, let's talk about how you can apply the 80-20 rule to your practice. Focus on the 20% that matters most. Let's talk about a common mistake people make: information overload. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the more you learn, the faster you'll improve. But let me tell you, this is a huge myth. When you try to learn everything all at once, you become overwhelmed. Your brain can't process it all, and that's where the 80-20 rule comes in. This principle tells us that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. This is the most important thing to understand when it comes to learning quickly. You don't need to know everything. You need to focus on the vital few things that will make the biggest difference. Let me explain this in action. When learning a new language, you don't need to memorize every word. Learning the 20% of vocabulary that is used in 80% of conversations will give you a massive advantage. The same goes for learning a musical instrument. You don't need to memorize every scale. Instead, focus on mastering the basic chords, finger techniques, and timing. Instead of spending time on irrelevant details, focus on the essentials. These are the building blocks of your skill. When you focus on these critical elements first, everything else becomes easier. By identifying the 20% of things that will make the most impact, your learning will become 10 times more efficient. Forget the distractions. Focus on the essentials, and you'll start seeing major progress faster than you thought possible. Learn from those who've already mastered it. Here's a question for you. Would you rather learn to ski with a group of beginners or with seasoned professionals who've mastered the slopes? When you surround yourself with experts, your learning process accelerates. Why? Because they've already gone through the struggle. They know exactly what works and what doesn't. Experts have already made the mistakes, so you don't have to. Being around experts helps you see your blind spots. These are the mistakes you're making that you don't even know about. Imagine learning to play the guitar for months and practicing wrong finger placement. An expert could spot that mistake in seconds and tell you exactly how to adjust. That one piece of feedback could transform your playing overnight. But that's not all. Experts hold you to higher standards, and the pressure of meeting those standards will push you to perform better. When you're surrounded by people who are much better than you, it forces you to level up. You don't want to be the weak link, so your brain pushes you to rise to the occasion. So, find those experts, learn from them, apply what they teach, and you'll skip the years of trial and error. Now, it's your turn. You've now got the blueprint for learning faster than you ever thought possible. The secret isn't in doing more, it's about doing it right. Now it's time to put these strategies into practice. Take what you've learned today and start applying it to the skills you've always wanted to master. The only thing standing between you and success is the willingness to take action. So hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment below about what skill you're going to master next. Let's make 2025 the year of faster learning and greater success.